or Kishore or Mahesh, like what is your background? Okay, Mahesh has 8 years of experience in 8 years of experience in BW, BI, and BO. Great. And Kishore 8 years in Webby and Crystal. Okay, fine. So you guys have like any exposure to Excel CS also in BO only Webby. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, great. So the first like question comes is like what is a data visualization basically? So data visualization, it's nothing but information represented in any form, whether it's a graphical form or it's a tabular form or any other, you say cross tab, or even Webby is also information. It provides information. And also this data visualization, it allows people to quickly understand the data. Those are the 2 points: information presented in any graphical form, and it allows people to quickly understand the data. So that is yeah, yeah, I'll be providing the recordings as well. Okay, so when it comes to SAP, so SAP visualization strategy. Okay, in case if you like if you're losing my voice, like in that case, like what I'll do is I'll type also simultaneously so that it becomes easy. So we're talking about SAP visualization strategy. So SAP has divided its visualization into three categories. One is professionally authored, another is business analyst driven, and another is self-service. What is professionally authored? Professionally authored is like IT guys uh, normally develop the dashboards or reports, and it is deployed globally. And it focuses on companies' KPI basically, core KPIs, and its publication is broad. So users will be more, and so it is created by IT created. It is IT created, number one, deployed globally, and it focuses on companies' core KPIs. And the publication is a broad basically. So the number of users are more. For this, Excel CS was the best tool from SAP. When it comes to business analyst driven, so this is when analyst wants to do some analysis, and it's for small audience basically. Okay, and it uh, if analyst is creating any visualization, it will answer specific questions. If you want to answer specific questions, and the tool is used is either visual intelligence or Lumira. So if you want to do small, you want to quickly do some analysis and find something, then in that case, visual intelligence or Lumira is the best tool. When it comes to self-servicing, where business users wants to do some analysis, so they can use either Explorer or Exploration Views. So where does Design Studio fits basically? So Design Studio fits in, it fits here when you want to create a dashboard for the larger audience, or a business analyst also can create his dashboard quickly with the help of the templates available. This is not the tool for self-service. So if you want to go for self-service, maybe you can go for Explorer and exploration views, and to some extent you can use Lumira as well. Okay. So next, okay, so now we know where we can use Design Studio and where we should not use the Design Studio. So this Design Studio, what it does is we can create analysis application using Design Studio. Every tool has its own terminology. So when you work with Excel CS, you say, okay, we are creating a dashboard. When you work with a Tableau, maybe you will say we are creating a workbook. Similarly, when you work with Excel Design Studio, the output will be analysis application. It is called as analysis application, but at the end, it is same as a simple visualization. We call it as a visualization or a dashboard or an analysis application. So here it is called as analysis application. So you can create analysis application using Design Studio, which is based on BW or SAP HANA or Universe data sources. And the target devices will be browser or mobile devices. So when we talk about mobile devices, it is iPad and iPhone. Okay. So this SAP Business Objects Design Studio can be used locally, and it can be integrated with BI platform or SAP NetWeaver or SAP HANA. So SAP Design Studio can be used locally. Also, you can integrate SAP Design Studio with your existing SAP Business Objects, Business Intelligence platform. That is nothing but your BI platform. Also, you can integrate it with NetWeaver or HANA. So when it comes to SAP Business Objects platform, BI platform, when we are talking about BI platform, it allows you to connect to universes, and also you can connect to multiple like BW and HANA data sources. Whatever connections, Bharat says audio is lost. Are you guys too able to hear me? Other guys like Kishore and Mahesh, you guys are able to hear me? Okay. Bharat, are you able to hear me now? Just check your headsets. Just unplug and plug it again. Maybe that can solve. Okay. So when it okay, we were talking about when we are working with BI platform. So when you are working on Design Studio with BI platform, you can connect to universes or BW or OLAP connection or HANA OLAP connections. So these OLAP connections you will be creating in CMC. So whatever connection OLAP connections you create in CMC, those OLAP connections you can consume in SAP Design Studio. Also, you can connect it to universes, whatever universe you create using IDT. So those universes you can use as a data source. Okay, and once you create a uh, analysis application on BI platform, you can publish that analysis application back on the BI platform, and also it can be transported via promotion management to the different servers or different environments from development to QA or production. You can transport this particular application using promotion management. When it comes to NetViewer, you can connect to single instance, single BW source. When it comes to BI, you can connect to multiple BW or HANA or Universe. So everything is, you can connect to all three also at the same time. But when it comes to NetViewer, you can only connect to single BW. So if you are connected to one system, you will be working with that system only, and you can connect to only queries or cubes available on that particular system. You can't connect to another system. It's the same application. Yeah, and here you can connect to BW queries, that's BEX queries, and info providers. BEX queries and info providers, the data source. And again, when it comes to for deployment, whatever applications you are creating are published back to the SAP BW ABAP server. Okay. When you are connecting to SAP HANA, you will be connecting to single HANA source, and you can connect to HANA views. And when you are publishing, you will be publishing back on the HANA server. Now, apart from this, you can also connect, you can deploy, like you can connect SAP Design Studio using local mode also. So when you are working locally, you can connect to BW and HANA data sources, HANA OLAP connections. So in SAP GUI, you will have some connections to SAP HANA and SAP BW. So those connections you can use. Those connections you can use and connect to the HANA and BW and create your analysis application. When it comes to publication, so you can publish the dashboard back to the, either if you want to publish it on BI platform or NetWeaver or a HANA platform, you can publish it. But when you are publishing it, you may have to change your connections. You may have to repoint them, because right now it's pointing to the ODBC connections you have created, right? So instead of that, you want to point to the new connections. This is about the connection, like all the deployment options available. Okay, so let me just run the tool and show you. So meanwhile it's connecting, do you have any questions? Like you guys have any questions related to whatever like we have discussed till now? So if you have any questions, you can like type in the chat window, and we can take those questions also. Okay, prerequisites to learn Design Studio can exploration views. Okay, okay. So first is like, what are the prerequisites to learn Design Studio? Uh, you should have a basic knowledge about uh, dashboarding. So that's the only prerequisite. Some people say JavaScript and CSS is must. So it's not required that much. You can learn while creating your applications. And another is exploration views. Okay, so exploration views we talked like it is used mostly for self-servicing. So you create your exploration views using Explorer and then expose that those exploration views to the end users, and they can play around with the exploration view by doing the slicing and dicing, and they can find the they can do analysis quickly. What about SQL? SQL is not required. Yeah, when you are creating a universe, maybe SQL is required, but when you are creating a dashboard using analysis application, oh sorry, using Design Studio, that is not required. SQL knowledge is not required at all. A simple if-else logic, if you can write simple if-else logic, that is sufficient. UI5, if you know its advantage, it will help you uh, in creating new components if you are working with SDK and all. But to create simple applications and simple dashboards, that is not required. No, Kishore, I can't hear you. Like, you're not audible. You're connected to audio, but I can't hear you. Okay, quickly we'll go through the tool and like we'll see what are the components we have here and how we can create a simple application. Okay, so this is the first screen of the tool where you have all the menu options are available, and you can create a new application by clicking on new, or you can also click on create new, create analysis application, and wherever you want to save that application. Okay, fine. Uh, so to create a new application, you can click on application and say click new, create new, and wherever you want to save the application, you can select that folder where you want to save your application. So you can browse to the particular folder, and so for example you want to save our dashboard analysis application here. Select that application, give a name for the application. So let's say demo underscore 001, and we say dashboard. Any description we can give, dashboard demo. So we have three type of templates, right? So you need to select while creating the analysis application itself. You need to select whether you are creating an application for desktop browser or iPad or iPhone. So your target device you need to select. If you are selecting desktop browser, still you can run the same application on iPad also, but the look and feel will not be that much good. When you select iPad, so that time your button should be a little bigger, because you need to click with your finger. You want to click with your finger. But when it comes to desktop browsers, your selections can be a little small also, because you are selecting with a mouse. So based on your requirement and all, you just select the template category. You say finish. So what are the general requirements we get? Okay, Bharat, we'll talk. Uh, just we'll talk. I'll answer you in another 10 minutes. Let me finish it with this demo, and then we'll go to the question and answers. Yeah. So this is the tool. So this tool is divided into 6 screens basically. So if you see, there is a screen called components view, then outline view, then you say the application name view, that is a canvas view, then you have script problems view, and properties view, and additional properties view. So we'll talk about one by one these views. So components view, it's again divided into 3 folders. You see, analytical components, basic components, and container components. So components are grouped in these different folders based on their functionality. So analytical component, it has chart, crosstab or dimension filters, filter panel. So the components which is used to display information, though, or do some analysis, those are grouped under analytical components. The components like drop down boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, or filter data. So this enables user interaction at the runtime basically. So these are basic components. These are used for user interaction. Buttons, like there are components like button, images. These components are used for to enable navigation. And the third type of components you have is container components. So in container components you have grid layout, page book, panel, pop-up, tab strips. Basically these uh, are used to group and structure the content of an application. So all three makes the component views. So whatever components you will be placing on the canvas to create your dashboard or analysis application, you will be selecting those components from the components view. Below components view, you have an outline view. Outline view, it gives a hierarchical overview of currently active application. So currently the application is demo 001. That is the active application. So it gives the hierarchical overview of this application. Okay. And this has, like if you can see, right, it has 4 folders. So first is data source. So whatever data source you will be using to create your application, all the data source you need to add in the data source folder. To add a data source, just click right click on the data sources folder and say add data source, and then you just proceed. Planning objects, if you're working with SAP IP integrated planning and you want to use make of planning functions and all, then planning objects, you can use planning objects. So in the training, we'll not cover the planning object because we don't have SAP IP and like, but where you can use as planning objects is like if you are creating a what if kind of scenarios. You want to do what if with your SAP Design Studio application, you can use planning objects. Then it comes layout. So whatever components you put in the dashboard, for example, a chart or a filter panel. So whatever components you are adding, those components will be added in the layout. So whatever components are on the canvas, those will be listed here in a linear format, in a hierarchical format. Like chart is there, then we have added filter panel, then filter line, and another filter line. So whatever components we have added, all the components will be shown here. Then we have technical components. So technical components, by default, one context menu is added. So what is the use of the context menu? Context menu is used for navigation. When you execute any dashboard, right, you want to do some navigation. You want to go from one place to another place. So that is navigation. Or you want to select a time period and based on that time period, dashboard should refresh. That's a navigation. So that navigation is achieved by the context menu. By default, it is added to all the applications, whatever application, new applications you create. And there can be only one context menu per application. So ideally speaking, there is no use of it. You will never delete it, you will never modify it, just let it be there always. You can add other components like backend connections, global scripts, or PDF and text pool. So backend connections, if you are connecting to ODB, you want to connect to ODBC, so you can use backend connections. Or we'll talk about JavaScripting and all. So when we are writing any JavaScripting, those JavaScripts you can write under global script object. If you want to print your dashboard into PDF, you can add PDF technical component also. And when you want to do a translation of the application itself, like you have developed an application in English language and you want to translate it to different languages, that time you can use text pool. So we will see during our classes like how to translate a dashboard also, how we can use text pool to translate our dashboards. So apart from outline pane, then we have a canvas. So canvas is the front end of the dashboard where you will be putting all your components to create a meaningful visualization. So you will be arranging the components, and on top of one first component you can put another component as well and all, and you can use dynamic visibility to display just one component at a time. So all the visualization related activities you will be doing in the canvas. Below the canvas you have script problems view. So this script problem views, it is used for debugging. So you have written some scripts and maybe you have used, like when you will be creating a dashboard, you will be writing JavaScripts of maybe 10 pages or 5 pages. So debugging becomes very difficult. Where is the error and all? But Design Studio tool, it gives the facility. So if there is any error in a particular line of a script, it shows you here. Okay, there is an error on this particular JavaScript. There is this is the script name and this is the line number. It gives you the line number as well. So it becomes very easy to debug. On the right hand side you have properties view. So properties view, whatever component we select from the canvas or from the layout outline view, whatever components we select, it shows the properties of that selected component. So for example, if we have selected a chart, it shows the chart properties. Below properties pane we have an additional properties pane. So properties, what is the difference between properties pane and additional properties pane? Properties pane will show the common properties of the component. So we have selected a chart and it shows the chart common property. But there will be different properties for different charts. For example, right now the chart type is column. If you select a different chart, column chart property will be different from the line chart. There will be some different properties when it comes to line. So those additional properties which is only related to, which is only applicable to line chart, those will be available in the additional properties pane. If you select a different chart, radar, So only radar chart related properties will be listed in the additional properties pane. So this is the overview of the tool. And when it comes to any tool, like any tool, there are some terminologies you need to follow. So when it comes to Design Studio, like instead of dashboard, you're calling analysis application, and the data source remains same. Data source, most of the places like you will call data sources only. And you have a data binding. So data binding means like this chart, you need to map to a particular data source. So whenever you create a data source, let's create a data source. We'll create on universe. Let's create a query from the universe. So we have created one data source. So whenever we want to bind this data source to, or we want to assign this data source to a particular component. Let me delete all other components, and instead of radar, let's take column chart. So it becomes. So we have selected an actual and SPLY value. Let me edit this first, because by default whenever we create a data source, it shows only measures. So you can bring the characteristics or dimensions. So this is data binding, assigning a data source to a particular component. So either you can drag and drop on the particular component, you can just drag the data source and drop it on a component, or on the right hand side properties, from the data binding you can select a data source, which data source you want to select for a particular component. At a time only one data source you can assign to a one particular component. You can change this at a runtime, but at a time only one data source will be reflected on a one particular component. Okay, so yeah, so we'll be creating a dashboard, and so everyone, like all of you have seen the course content, I believe. So I'll just show you one more time. Okay. Yeah. So these are the topics we'll be covering during the course. So you can just go through the list, and if you have any other topic which you want to include them, you can let me know. I'll let you know whether we can include it or not. Which particular topic I'll not be covering is there are two topics I'll not be covering. One is geomaps, because we don't have data for that, and another thing is SDK components. So we can't create SDK components on the fly right now. So if required, I can show you how to integrate or how to use the available third-party components. But we will not be doing any practical exam for that, because we don't have any third-party components available. I can just explain theoretically how to make use of third-party components. And apart from this course content, we'll be doing a project also. So that project, you'll be creating a dashboard similar to this. You'll be creating exact same dashboard. So I'll explain this dashboard to you. It's a store manager dashboard or store performance dashboard, where you can measure your store performance, how it's performing on daily, weekly, or monthly and yearly basis. So we have a selection for time period selection, daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. So based on the selected time period, it shows the complete dashboard refreshes and it shows the data for that particular selected time period only. And this dashboard is divided into four quadrants. So quadrant one shows the overall performance. So if you select daily, it shows yesterday's performance. What was my net sales, what was my net margin, what was my conversion rate. We have taken just 5 random KPIs for a particular store, which is mostly used. So net sales, what was my actual, what was my budget, and what is the variance, and SPLY, what is the same period last year value. So based on these five KPIs and actual budget, variance, and SPLY values, we'll be creating a scorecard component. So this scorecard shows the overall performance of the dashboard. This is the, when you create a dashboard, right, you always keep your most important information on the left hand side top. So this is the most information and most useful information for any particular store manager. It gives you overall picture. Then based on the selection of a KPI, if you selected a net sales, it shows the trend of the net sales for the last 7 days. If you are selected daily, it shows last 7 days of trend. If you select weekly, it will show last 6 weeks or 8 weeks of trend. If you select monthly, it shows last 12 months of trend. If it is yearly, it shows last 5 years of trend. So based on the selection in the period and based on the selection of a KPI, trend graph changes. So if you select conversion rate, it will show the conversion rate trend. On the right hand side, you have one pie chart and one table again. So pie chart and table shows the both, it shows the same information, one in a graphical format and one in a number format. So pie chart shows the sales contribution by brand. So right now, like our actual is 4,345. So how it is contributed by all the brands. So brand one contributed 680, brand two 677 and all. So by brand and by category. So let me just show you. If you select a category, so if you select a category, it shows you by category, and the detail is shown in the chart in the tabular format. So with the SPLY values also, and the below you are showing we are showing a top 10 articles. So whatever either brand or category we select in the pie chart. So right now it is showing top 10 articles for a category 1. You select a different category, category 4, it shows top 10 articles for category 4. So if you select brand, go to the brand, and if you select brand, so brand 5 is selected, so it shows top 10 articles for brand 5. So this is the dashboard we'll be creating. It's a real-time dashboard we'll be creating, and so you can add in your resumes like one project experience as well. So this dashboard will be using, we'll be writing so much of JavaScript and CSS also will be using to format the components. We'll be using JavaScript and CSS as well. Okay, so like if you have any questions, you can we can take those questions now. So Bharat had one question like, what are the general requirements we get for desktop and iPad? So yeah, so when you are collecting any business requirement for the dashboard, right, you need to ask your business users like, what will be the target device? If they are going to use the dashboard on desktop or big screens, you can go for desktop template. If you are, they want to use the dashboard on the go or on the mobile devices, then you need to focus on iPad or iPhone template. Will you provide us basic training on JavaScripts? That will be not required actually. See, when it comes to JavaScripting, I'll show you how to write JavaScripting. If you know, as I said, right, if you know if-else condition, if you can write if-else conditions, that is good enough. So I'll just show you how to write JavaScript. Audio lost. Okay. Just give me a minute. I think there's some problem with my net. Okay, got it. Good. Okay. So to write a JavaScript, let's write a JavaScript on event on select event. So this is the JavaScript editor. So if you don't know JavaScript, you can just press Control and space button, and it gives you option how you can write. So it helps you in writing, and I'll teach you like how you can write JavaScripts quickly. What are the best practices you can follow to write JavaScript? So you don't really need a JavaScript or CSS knowledge to start with. CSS anyways, it is available on most of the time, it is available on internet, right? How to format a particular text box or how to format a chart. So you can get the code from the internet itself, and you can use that code, and those codes are reusable. Like once you have achieved something, you have for example, yeah, so the color of the text box you want to change, if you have done it once, you can use it in any dashboard. So that is just one time activity. You can keep on accumulating, or just find something and keep it in your somewhere, you just note it down so that you don't forget that. So CSS is little bit required, but JavaScript, yeah, it is not required at all. If you know if else conditions, you will be able to write pages of JavaScript. Okay, any other question? Any other question, guys? Bharat, Kishore, or Mahesh? The main difference between exercises and DS is, I didn't got your question. Do you mean like what is the difference between Excel CS and Design Studio? Okay, so difference wise, yeah, there is a lot of differences. Like the first difference comes to my mind is like when you are creating any POCs or you want to develop a dashboard quickly, uh, you can go with Excel CS, because it gives you there is an inbuilt Excel capability, right? So you can put your data there and you can create your dashboard quickly, and then you can integrate it with your data main data sources. So that's the advantage with Excel CS. But if you go with SAP guideline, like they are going to sunset the Excel CS tool in 2017. So SAP Design Studio is the future tool. It's the future. And when it comes to other differences, yeah, what we will do is during the session, we will, whatever differences we will find, we'll just note it down, and in the later point, like I'll just share those points with you guys, so that you can use those points for your references when it comes to decide any tool, right? Like what tool you want to use. You can use third-party components in Design Studio. Yeah, you can use third-party components in Design Studio. You can just buy them and see. I'll show you how to use third-party components. So there is a platform extensions. So if you click on platform extension, just a minute. Install extensions. Yeah. So these are the third-party components. If you click here, you'll get a link. You can also create your own third-party components, like your SDK components, but that's a separate course basically to create SDK components. And if you want to use third-party components which are available in the market, you can go to this particular link and then you select Design Studio and see there are so many components available from different vendors. But these components comes with a cost, so that's why we'll not be covering this third-party components. Like we'll not be using any third-party components in our visualization. But yeah, if you have a server with you and you want to do some practice, you can just download the third-party components from here and do some R&D. I'll tell you how to integrate these components into the Design Studio. So there are so many components available. Components are there from, like TCS has developed some components and Infosys has developed some components. See, this is developed by Infosys. So companies, IT vendors, they are developing third-party components to showcase their capability. What about certification? To my knowledge, there is no certification available for Design Studio. There's no certification available. I hope I have not missed any questions. Okay. So if any other questions, or if you have any questions, you can let me know. Else, like you can just quickly go through this one more slide and like the course detail and all. So basically, this course will be for 16 hours. So and during the course, we'll be getting 24/7 remote server access like this, and there you will have the tool installed and everything is installed, and this tool access will be for 4 weeks, so you can do your practice and all. Certification course completion, it will not be valid, I believe, if I give also. And the course fee is 10K, and I'm starting a new batch on coming Wednesday, so that will be from 9 to 10. And also I'm starting a weekend batch also, but the timing is not decided. So if you are interested, like you can let me know, and timings and all, we can see like what time fits you, and accordingly we can change the timing also. As of now, this is the timing I have in my mind. So if you want to change, if you want to like go for the course, but you are like if you at a different time and all, we can manage that also. So if you have any, is it possible? You mean 7:30? 7:30. Yeah, we can make it at 7:30 as well, like 7:30 to 8:30. Yeah, that is fine. We can do that also. So timing and all, like you can drop me an email and like we can chat. You just drop me your contact details. I'll call you and then maybe we can discuss about the timing and all. Or any other questions. If you have any other questions also, like you can send it to me on this particular mail ID. Uh, so I guess all of you has this course content. If you want this course content detail, like you can just drop me you can leave your email address here, so I'll drop the I'll send a mail with the course content and all the required details. So I guess, can I use no number? Yeah, sure. I'm available on WhatsApp as well, like, or you can call me or you can drop a note on WhatsApp also. Also, if you know somebody like who is interested, you can just forward this course content to them, and like if they are also interested, I'll be sharing this recording also. So if you want the script, recording of this session also, you can just drop me your email address. I'll share the recording with you.